Hey everybody, this is MyCollectables coming back with another video here. Hey, I wanted to do a little video at the end of the year here just to recap some stuff and to give you my thoughts about Veve going into the future. And just some tips, just my opinion only, just about like where I think Veve's going and some of the important things to consider when you're, buying stuff in the future here on this app, or looking at drops, or looking at collectibles, or just involved with the whole thing. These are just my opinions only, and I think it's really important for me to mention that you'll have your opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, of course. And I love to hear everybody else's opinions about what's going on with the app and where the future of the collectibles are going, and what people think about drops and value and all that kind of stuff. So this is just my opinion, and I'd love to see other providers, content creators and stuff, just preface that, or if that's even the right word, just label whatever they're saying as their opinions, because that's really all we're doing. All of us that are out here making videos or making comments, it's just our opinion. We can back it up with certain things that we think are facts, and that always helps validate our opinions for sure. But in the end, it's just me here in this video telling you what I think. Now I could be wrong, for sure, and I don't mind admitting if I am, or if something that I predict or give an opinion on turns out to be the other way, then hey, that's just the way it is, right? So I don't mind doing that myself. So anyway, when you're watching this video, just remember that this is just a guy who has an opinion about what's going on and what you should focus on, and this is me telling you, wanting to share it. And I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below about some of the things I'm going to cover today. That's what it's about. It's a discussion, right? So anyway, I wanted to start off with a couple of notes that I made just at the end of the year. I've been in the app since early October, and my first video was all about Spider-Man comics and stuff. And because in the real world, I'm a comic book collector and a toy store owner, and I've been doing this for a long time, right? I've been buying, selling collectibles, all sorts, vintage toys, comic books. I've been on, eBay since 2010 or so, and own my own vintage toy and comic book store, physical store, brick and mortar, for the last 5 years. I actually closed it down in June for numerous reasons, right? But for 5 years I ran my own store, and that was amazing. That was fun. And I have a big Instagram account where I sell and buy, and on Facebook, and also on eBay. So in the real world of collectibles, I'm quite knowledgeable. I don't mind saying that because it's true. I've earned it. I've put in the time, and so when I think about Veve, and I started getting into Veve, I brought my real world experience, to Veve. I brought my real world thinking to Veve. And a lot of it is done well, for me personally when I'm getting collectibles. But at the same time, it's totally different in Veve. And my first point about that I wanted to make was just to forget the real world comparisons on a lot of these collectibles, okay? There's a little bit of, crossover for sure. And, I think people are trying to figure out what's going to be worth a lot in the future. But just from my experience as as an actual toy store owner, comic book store owner, business person in that area, I've found that my real world comparisons, especially with the comic books, are just, they're just not accurate. They're just not as accurate as I would hope them to be at the beginning, or as what I thought. And I think, in my opinion, we need to forget the real-world comparisons. This is a completely different platform than the real-world stuff. Now, that's my first point. My second point I'm going to make, I'm going to get into each one of these as we go, but my second point I'm going to make is that rarity is king, okay? And I've seen a lot of talk lately online, on social media, about Veve, with a lot of people that I totally respect and I follow, and I love their opinions and everything. Let me just put that out there, that I love all the different opinions, right? And I hear a lot of people talking about, that you should, focus on, the high-end real world comics. So let's say comics, for example, focusing on, ones that are like worth a lot in the real world and the key issues that are really important. And, a good example is, this Spider-Man right here, right? I own a real copy of this. I own a couple real copies of this from a few years ago. And it's a beautiful comic, one of my favorite in the real world. And, it's not like crazy expensive in the real world. It's not like Amazing Spider-Man 1 or anything, but it's decently pricey. It didn't cost me like a ton to buy this, but it cost an okay amount. But, people are saying this comic isn't really worth what it should be in the marketplace on Veve right now and all that kind of stuff. And people making comparisons, to, the highest comics, the biggest comics in the world. Those are the only ones we should focus on. But I have a different opinion. I think rarity is key in this app, okay? And low editions are just obviously where everything is at and where it's going. And so I'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. But rarity is king in this app, okay? Even more so than the most famous comic book or the most famous collectible. There are collectibles in the app that, I don't even know what they are, and they're worth a ton, okay? And so that takes me to my second point, or my third point, sorry, is that low editions are the future, okay? So low editions are the future for this app. They've already announced they're going to be doing one-of-ones, and this recent comic book drop right here is a good example that low edition sizes is something they're going to be focusing on, making them rarer, harder to get and more valuable. And say what you want about this comic, the low edition sizes make it, one of the top comics on the app, period. And the market doesn't lie. So that's my next point. Number 4, the market never lies, okay? The market might be inflated at times, like right after a drop. The market might be, controlled by certain people, for sure. But the price value points, they don't lie, okay? Over time, the market dictates what these are worth. No matter what I say or you say or anybody else, the market is the one that dictates all of this. So when I go into the market, I try to do my research and look at like what's available, how many are being sold, all that kind of stuff. But the market is the truth, the true truth of the app. No matter what I think about this comic, compared to, this comic, which they haven't dropped, which is arguably the first actual Black Suit Spider-Man comic book, aside from Secret Wars 8, of course, but this came out at the same time as this one in the real world, same month, and some say that this one actually, came out earlier in the month, so, they haven't released this one yet, right? So anyway, my point is that, the market doesn't lie. Whatever the price value is of an item in the market, that's where we're going, right? And my last point that I'll make just before I go into things a little bit further is just buy what you love. A lot of people are giving a lot of hate to this comic right now. I'm not sure why. I personally love it. I think it's a beautiful comic. A throwback to the Amazing Fantasy cover, and just wait till that one comes. That might be a one-of-one, right? But anyway, buy what you love. Like, follow your own collectible path. And get what you love, whether it's the common covers or the rare covers or anything like that. That's what you want to do. You want to get those kind of things that you love, and you'll have way more enjoyment in the app. You'll love looking at your collectibles. Don't always chase the biggest thing. There's a few drops that I don't even participate in, because I'd rather save my gems for the stuff that I love. But anyway, I want to get back to my first point and get into a little bit more. So forget the real world comparisons, okay? That's what I want to get into. I want to go into the app right now, and I want to talk about this comic right here in particular, right? Because everybody's talking about it. And a lot of the chatter is that this comic in the real world is not a grail, like a huge grail. So why is it worth so much in the app? Well, you can't compare it to the real world comic. I know. I have a few of the real world comics, I wish this was worth $1 million in the real world, but it isn't because, but it's still a key issue, right? And, people are comparing it to that and saying that this shouldn't be worth as much as it is. Like, let's just take a look at how much it's going for in the market right now. This is December 31st. 2021, last video of the year. And it's going for $2,200 in the market right now. And let's look at the edition sizes on it, as we all know. Beautiful cover, by the way, just absolutely stunning. And it's going, how many? There's 425 editions, so we already know that. Now, People are saying, oh, this shouldn't be worth that much. It's not that key of a comic. Well, it takes me back to my second and third points, which are Rarity is King and low editions are the future, okay? So, and then it goes into the market never lies. All three of those points. You can't compare this to the real world comic, okay? This is a completely different thing. There's only 425 commons, okay? Which is like, you know, way less than the amount that exists in the real world. There's no you know, quality issues. There's no grading issues with this one here. There's no shipping required. There's no you know, fees for selling in the real world. There's no damage getting done when you know, through sunlight and water. There's no age degradation. There's none of that when it comes to this. Okay, so comparing this to that is just not accurate. You know, you can try, and people are trying, and I can see they're trying, and I appreciate that they are, but there's just no comparison. I mean, this is a completely different kind of collectible, okay? This kind of collectible is, you know, digital only. It's an NFT. There's only 425 of them, which makes this one different than the real world comic, and the value of this one right now is quite a bit higher. Now, people will say it's not that much higher, because if you actually look at the 2,200 gem, which is US dollar comparison, if you went on, for example, eBay right now, and you looked at this comic right here as a 9.8, it goes for roughly the same price, okay? So is it really underpriced at a common level? I don't think so, you know, and this is coming from someone who sells and buys comics for a living for the past like 10, 12 years. So I really don't think that there's, you know, anything that's wrong with the price of this personally. And I think this is actually the future of what Veve is going to be doing. We'll see. I mean, you know, if they're going to start dropping comics like this at this rarity level, then you're going to be looking at some really hard drops. So that's a whole other video about getting into fixing the drop system, right? But this comic right here with the Rarity is King, I mean, it just is. The market doesn't lie with it, okay? We'll see where it goes, because I know a lot of bots bought that one up, and that's a major problem with the app, you know? But yeah, you know. So if we go down to some of the other comics right here that are available, this is actually in my collection. So let me just show you what I've been doing to go along with in the last couple days, okay? So I kind of switched my focus a little bit about what I'm collecting in the app. So I was collecting up all the common covers, and because they're the original covers, and because as a real world comic book collector, I was thinking, you know, like the real covers are where it's at for me. You know, they're lower value, lower price. I made a video about it, and I still think that that's a fantastic way to go. But I've also started to notice the change in the app. And so what you have to do is you have to like watch what's going on in the marketplace and in the app and what the drops are doing. And the rarities, or sorry, the edition numbers of these comic books are starting to come down as they drop them. I remember the Amazing Spider-Man #1 right here. This drop right here. Oh, I don't want to read the comic yet. I've read it numerous times, but not right now. So, you know, if we go down to here, the edition size of the common is 48,000 editions. Now, that is a lot of editions. And the common still holds a decent amount of value, of course. It's sitting at 85 gems in the market right now. So that's still pretty good. But as we notice the trend in the app for them releasing new comics, like when they released, you know, Doc Ock right here, this comic book only sitting at 21,000 editions. So that's less than half of Amazing Spider-Man 1. Okay, so what does that mean? So for me, I started to notice this trend, like all of you I'm sure have. And so it's starting to push the app towards rarity. This recent comic book drop, you know, just completely proves that this might be a one-off thing. I don't know. We'll find out, but I don't think so. I think they're going to start doing this kind of thing a lot more, which means these comics are going to get rarer, right? And harder to find. And rarity and low edition sizes are going to be where it's at. So I actually had 4 of these, okay, that I had bought. And, you know, the other 3 that I bought were for long-term holds. But what I decided to do is I decided to actually sell 3 of them, the higher edition sizes, higher edition numbers, sorry, because the lower edition number I'm keeping. And then I actually bought 2 with a little bit of extra gems that I got from selling a couple other things, I bought 2 of the rares. And the reason I bought 2 of the rares is very simple, really. The cover is still really cool. I really like that. And the rare, there's only 3,000 of them. So think about that. 48,000 on the common, 3,000 on the rare. Now, I didn't go for the uncommon, which is slightly less. I went a little bit higher. And if I could, you know, maybe one day soon, I will actually go a bit further and I'll pick up the ultra rare. You know, not the secret rare. That's out of my price range, right? But the 3,000 edition on that one is, I believe, is clearly where the app is going. So I'm making that little switch right now. So another one that I just did right here. Okay, so if we go down to Marvel Comics #1, this is in my own collection. This is my collection you're seeing right here. I'm not a mega whale like a lot of other people, so I'm making, like, you know, smaller choices, right? But I had 4 Marvel Comic #1s, and I actually bought a few of these off the marketplace during the dip over Christmas here. And this has also got 48,000 editions. Now, this is also a really nice one. It's 193 in the app right now. And, you know, I still own one of them. But what I did with that as well is I sold a couple of the common editions that I bought, and I made a little bit of profit on each one. I always try to sell for a little bit of profit, even if it's not like huge profit. I just try to adapt and flow with what the app is doing. And I actually picked up the rare, okay? And this for me is the same mentality as with Spider-Man #1. Okay, so the rare right here is sitting at 3,000 editions. Okay, so what would I rather have? Would I rather have 4 of those or 1 and 1? Well, I chose 1 and 1 because I think the rare has more long-term, higher value potential, especially with what's going on in the app, how they're getting lower edition sizes, right? So like I said, rarity is king. Low editions are the future. This is my thought process here. Now, if we get into the collectibles themselves, okay, that's a whole other different story, right? They're not the same as the comic books. Collectibles, you know, they're just different, you know. And but the same approach can be applied. The rarest collectibles in here on the app are usually the most valuable. Okay, so like that Donnie one, I did a video about the top 10 most, you know, the most expensive collectibles in the app, comic books and you know, collectibles in particular. And you can see that video on my channel. It's like I posted it a few days ago. And so these collectibles, you know, by rarity sizes, you know, if we go to like the Donnie one, for example, there like 50 or something. I mean, that one's worth like 150,000 in the app or whatever it's worth. So, you know, like, who even is Donnie? Like, seriously, like, I know who he is and all that stuff, and I know what it's from and all that, but I mean, that's not like Spider-Man or something, right? And so the only reason that one is so high is because of the rarity level. Okay, so anybody who says that, oh, you should only stick with the most popular characters, you know, they're not entirely wrong, but they're also not 100% right. You know, the rarity will dictate how valuable some of these items are. There are items in the marketplace, you know, if I go to the market, you know, and if I go out of comics and I go back to the brands right here, there are rare items in the marketplace here that aren't as popular as some of the other stuff, but because their edition price sizes are so low, you know, that they're like, I mean, let's just look at the Ghostbusters, for example, okay? So like, yeah, the Ecto and all that kind of stuff, right? This is all great. But I mean, look at the Platinum logo. Like, this is just the logo, a Ghostbusters logo, okay? So I know Ghostbusters is popular. I love Ghostbusters. But I mean, you know, $20,000, right? For this item over like Spider-Man or Batman or anything like that. The reason is because, oh, I don't know, there's only 200 of them. Right? So, you know, if you go back to the market and you go to the comics, okay, and we go to the Spider-Man that we just saw, you know, as it loads right here, because people are buying and scooping stuff up left and right. Let's see, where is it right here? Well, this one right here, right? This one, okay? This one. I'll find it in a minute. But this one, the secret rare of that one, I mean, what is there, like 40? Yeah, there's like 40, right? Okay, here we go, right here. You know? So, low editions. Okay, secret rare. 29,000. Okay. And how many editions are there? Okay. There are 1,000 edition total. How many does it have right here? It doesn't actually say right there. Am I missing it? Oh, it doesn't matter. I think there's like 40 of them, right? You know? Yeah, there's like 40 of them or 43 of them. So why can't this comic be at the same level as, say, the Donnie? There's only 50 of those, isn't there? So, I mean, you know, just because the comic book cover isn't the, you know, #1 amazing fantasy whatever, doesn't mean that this is not going to be worth huge money. So rarity and low editions is king in this app. Okay, so that's just something to consider. So just as a little example, this is my little store right here that I owned for 5+ years. That's me right there on opening day. I had to close it though, but that's okay. Didn't close it for financial reasons, lots of other reasons, personal life choices and COVID and all sorts of stuff. And the neighborhood I was in and everything wasn't really working out. But the store itself was fun. It was a great experience, right? And then if you go out of there, you know, like I said, I got my eBay account. I've been buying and selling comics on eBay digitally for years, and that's a totally different marketplace than Veve, okay? This is my eBay here. You can see I've been a member since 2010, okay? I still have a bunch of stuff on eBay that I sell constantly, so I'm doing that. So I'm in the market, I'm buying and selling. I understand what goes on in the real marketplace. And so, you know, that's just what I wanted to make a point of, is that I'm in the real marketplace selling these comics, you know, and these collectibles, like I'm sure a lot of you are. And, you know, it's not the same. It's not the same as the Veve marketplace. So you got to forget the real world comparisons. You got to go with the edition sizes is key. Of course, popular characters are going to be obviously more valuable if the edition sizes are lower. Okay, if the edition sizes are really high and the rarity isn't as low, the popular characters aren't going to be worth as much, you know, because that's what the market is. The market always says that. So I'll just go back to my final point here just before we're done with my video. I'll just go, actually I put it in my my photos here. Just bear with me for a sec. It's right here in my photos. There we go. So just as a recap, it's the end of the video and the end of the year. You know, this is just my opinion, like I said. Everybody's got their opinion. I'm trying to use my opinion based upon my real-world experience as a collector and a seller and a business person in the collectible industry, and comparing it to Veve. Okay, so you got to forget the real-world comparisons. They just do not apply to the NFT space as much as people like to think they do. The rankings and all that kind of stuff, these are just people's opinions. Just like this is just my opinion, right? You just got to go with what's going in the marketplace. The rarity is king, okay? When it comes to NFTs, rarity is king. When Coke released their NFT on the OpenSea, you know, that is a one of one. It went for $575,000 US. The snow globes on Veve aren't as rare. They don't go for as much. They're not, you know, so, but they're still really popular, so that boosts them up a bit. Low editions are the future, okay? Like I said, if they're going to start bringing out these comic books here and they're going to drop them at low editions, that's all that's going to matter. The prices are going to be super high because there's not as many of them, right? And even if the character is not that popular, it's still going to be worth a ton of money. Hence Donnie, okay? I mean, how many people really know what Donnie is? Not that many people compared to like how many people know who Spider-Man is, right? So you got to think about that, right? The market never lies, like I said. You go into the Veve marketplace, right now it'll tell you what stuff is worth. There's always going to be some inflation at the beginning, or, you know, I don't even know if that's the right word, but the prices are going to be higher when stuff originally comes out. It always comes down, so you can always count on that as, you know, the next new thing comes out, and then, you know, things drop down. That used to be, you know, the top. They come back down again. That's just the way it is, but you can always trust the market. It's going to tell you how much stuff is worth because it literally is telling you how much stuff is worth, okay? You can have your opinion about how much you think it's going to be worth, but the market tells you how much it's worth. And then, you know, last point, just buy what you love, you know? You can chase all of the highest stuff. You can chase all of the most rarest, valuable stuff if you want, and that's great, you know? I do that sometimes, but I skip drops because I just don't care about the collectible, right? And that's totally fine for me. I think it's fine for you. You don't have to get everything. just get what you love. You know, remember, rarity is going to be king. Low editions seem to be the future. And anyway, I hope you like my video. You know, maybe subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. You can always comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. If it's positive, negative, that's totally fine. Your opinion is just as valuable as my opinion. And I totally love to hear what other content creators are doing and what they're saying. We're all just trying to figure it out. That's the way I look at it. So anyway, hope you have a happy new year, and I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next year. Okay, happy collecting.